Hi, everybody. I'm Kat Margulis, and I'm the host of The Power of Story. And as a longtime journalist, author, and book coach, I tend to see story everywhere I go. But in recent years, I've had the opportunity to see how story can transform lives and businesses. And so that's what I want to explore with you in the series, is so that you can create the life, the business, and the legacy of your dreams with story, using story. And today, I'm really excited to have with me Anna Sinclair. Anna is a Canadian award-winning entrepreneur, businesswoman, and investor. She's the CEO of Total Mom Inc., which produces programs, event experiences, products, and services that take moms from overwhelmed to supported personally and professionally. Recognized as one of the top 100 most powerful women in Canada, Anna has been featured in Forbes, both as a contributor and Forbes Business Council member. She's a community builder and mental health advocate and is passionate about normalizing motherhood and business. Anna, thank you so much for being part of the Power Story.
Absolutely. Whoa. Hearing that out loud, it's crazy. It's absolutely bananas to
Yeah.
have the privilege and the honor of like getting to do things like that. Sometimes things happen so fast and then you're like, wait, is this my life right now? So
I
I'm
watch
so
your
honored.
Instagram, so I sometimes I'm like, that's your life right now. That's crazy. I love it.
I'm so honored to be on this, and I'm so excited to talk.
Thank
And yeah,
you.
this is really great. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
Thank you. So, you host the Total Mom Pitch Competition, and
Yes.
that supports, it showcases moms and women entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business. In your experience, how good a job are entrepreneurs doing of pitching and telling a story about their business? And like, what are they doing wrong? And what could they lean more into?
Yeah, I mean, pitching your business or pitching a brand or a company or a pitch deck, presenting all of that stuff, that is a skill set. Not everybody is just going to be able to pitch their company. And it's important to understand that different investors and different individuals, even when you walk into a room at a networking event, you're going to have different levels and variations and lengths of pitches. There's the 30-second elevator pitch where, you only have 30 seconds with someone. That's why they call it the elevator pitch, because like you're in the elevator and like, that person's important and you only have 30 seconds to kind of get to them before they hit like the 6th floor or whatnot. So you need to sort of understand what information are you going to disclose to the individual that you're speaking to based on the outcome that you want to have. And so most entrepreneurs, we're passionate, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I have been in circumstances and situations where I've had to pitch myself, my company, my brand to many individuals. And I think passion can sometimes override the important matters that and things you need to kind of distinguish about your company when it comes to getting money. But when it comes to enrolling and registering an individual into your brand or into your idea or into like why it matters, why do they need to fall in love with like what you're doing, story is, I would say, the most important element of it. And even when you're pitching to investors, like that painting that picture of like where you were and what you were doing and how it sounded like, tasted like, felt like when you came up with your idea. Usually individuals they want to know that the person behind the company or the brand is really genuine about why they're creating the solution to the problem in the first place. And so for me, for example, Total Mom really started in this dark basement where I literally was like by myself, new mama in a dark basement, feeling depleted, feeling completely at like rock bottom, going, what is going on? Like, where am I going? Like, how am I really going to be doing this all alone? Like, what's happening? Like, I don't even get an hour by myself. I haven't taken a bath. And so I tell that to people because the thing is people will genuinely understand that that was a difficult time for me, and they'll understand why my aha moment happened. So in a nutshell, when you are an entrepreneur and you're pitching your company or your business, think about who you're pitching to. If it's a person that you want to sort of like connect with and you want to be a speaker, or you want them to know your brand, or maybe they want to be a sponsor, you really want to tell them why you're doing it, why you started it, what your values are and your mission and vision. Those things at the core are really going to be why someone is going to get into alignment with you and resonate with what it is that you're presenting. But when it comes to the business side and it comes to like actually getting dollars or investment or something like that, that is all about understanding your market. That's all about your numbers. That's all about like why you're even like going to have a viable product. Like, what's your unique value proposition? That's a whole other thing. And story in there will lead it, but then the rest is like data, information, and the close. So
Okay.
if you're getting around there and you're trying to get your name out there and you're trying to get your project out there, sorry, I'm babbling on about this, but I just have so much to say about this.
Yes.
You want to share your why, like that moment where it happened, not just like that same old thing where like, oh, I started this because women are, underserved or whatever. Like everyone's saying that. Why do you start it? What personally happened in your life? What were the pitfalls? What was when you thought like the aha moment happened and then everything was going right, but then it went to shit again? And it's like, share all of it, because at the end of the day, one of the really cool things about being human is we pick up on vibration and energy. And when you're telling a story to someone and you're honest and genuine and you're really sharing, like they're going to pick up on those vibes and they're just genuinely going to want to know more about you. So that's kind of like an energetic secret, and a
Yes.
human secret.
I love that. Nobody has talked about energy yet. So this is
Oh,
exciting.
energy is everything. It's literally everything.
But I love it's yeah, what's happening is like through the connection, like there's this energetic exchange happening,
100%.
which is really, really powerful. And you get to that frequency through the story, and the deeper in the story you go.
Yeah. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've had things happen to me that have brought success into my business, not based on my pitch or whatever, but based on energy. And I think that as long as you're showing up and you're authentic and you're just spilling your guts and you're just being you and you're like, just vibrating at the frequency of like, I'm just unapologetically me and I'm passionate about this. And I don't care if people are going to judge me, whether it's like good as this person's pitch or not. Just be honest, be genuine, and people can feel that. And like the other secret I will say is, as women, we already know we don't ask for help as much as we need to. And that is because, I mean, we're flooded with information about how we got to do it all, right? Like we got to look good, we got to do this good, we got to handle the kids, the business, all of that stuff. So that's already a lot of pressure. But what the secret behind when you're actually trying to receive from others is, don't really go and think about like, am I going to get it? Or am I going to get it over this person? Or is this going to happen? Like, just go in there with that knowing of your value. And that is like a decision that is only going to be done personally. Like, no one is going to come and tell you what your value is. No one is going to come in and remind you how epic of a rock star you are. You literally have to like be the person that's like, if I had no one in my corner, I have to fill my own cup. I've got to be the cheerleader. That shit is what like differentiates successful and not successful people. The successful people, they don't roll deep with like 25 people and friends. Like they're really going like, laser focused on their thing, and they're reminding themselves that they're going to make it. They're going to make it. They're going to make it. And they just keep going and just kind of just keep going, keep sharing your story. And like
Love
people will
it.
just kind of, that village will grow, the right village will grow, right? That's
I love what I'm getting out of this. It's real badass. I really love it. Is like like here I am, and you get to listen to me. Like I feel like I think things were like this. I think that that's just corporate structure and whatever. And then the pandemic make me like this distancing of everybody, and and not wanting to pick up the phone or getting like, you know what I mean, when people used to do more of these like meet and greets and show up at the door and door knock, and like I think we lost a lot of that, and I'm kind of loving like this kind of like full frontal, let's let's go.
Full frontal, love it. Yeah, no, it's true. And I think if I may add, one of the things that happened during the lockdown, I got interviewed for the sponsorship report, and I was the youngest individual that was talking about the future of sales and sponsorships in Canada. Everybody else was like 30 plus years in sales and corporate sponsorships and things. And I think they asked me because that was the year that we had the most amount of corporate and large brand sponsors during the midst of like a lockdown and a pandemic. And people were coming to me and they were like, how did you do it? How did you do it? And I'm going to be honest with you, like behind the curtain of what was really going on was me literally like calling these people up, almost in the verge of tears of just being like, you need to support this initiative. You need to help these women. And like, it was just a lot of passion, a lot of honesty. I swore with national banks. Like I was on the call, I'm like, this is like so effing good. Like you have no idea. And I think that the secret there was just because I was so honest and genuine, and because they were like speaking to someone on the other side that didn't feel like fake and phony and like following the sales script. And it wasn't this weird, like, oh, like I'm prim and proper. And they were like, I need this in my life. And I was like, I need you in my life. And that energy of like, we just need to shake things up and really make an impact with our dollars. And like, I was like, I need to call upon you guys to really come in and bring in those dollars, because this program is no joke. It's a huge undertaking, and like someone's got to help us figure this out. That genuine, authentic energy was what's brought a lot of success into my company. And I continue to bring that way of being into everything I do. Like, even when I fly out to a different location in the US and I meet people, like there's no charade or persona of like being super over the top professional. You get what you see. And I think people genuinely like connect with that. And that's helped me a lot along the way. And that just being honest about my story and things like that.
I love that. That's really exciting. For the entrepreneurs listening, for the entrepreneur in me, and also for the writers and the authors that are, fighting to get those few, book deals, or fighting to get their book on a bookshelf, or fighting to get heard among the crowd. So, I just really love that. You have shared your story as a mother and an entrepreneur and a woman in business, and that's a big part of what you do. Why is sharing your story so important to you? And like, and I mean, you kind of answered it, but I want to have a specific question answer around this. What is the impact you've created as a result of putting your story out there?
Whew, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I kind of feel like I've had a weird relationship with my story. I started out as a pop artist and pop singer, and that was like my thing. Like my success of starting from nothing to being a pop artist to like, performing in front of like 30,000 people on a stage, to like being at the Junos and being considered for a Juno and like all the stuff, like that was my thing. And then I think during that time of my life, I blacked out everything that had ever happened, because I was like, I made it. Like I held on to this like thing of like, oh, thank God I'm not in those circumstances anymore. And then I went through a period of like wanting to share my story, but my mother being like Eastern European and that being like a big no. I kind of started feeling embarrassed about sharing my story, because I didn't want to hurt anyone in my family, but I also wasn't sure like if I was just like walking around with this crutch, like this happened to me and feel bad for me. And then I got empowered and I was like, wait, my story is powerful, because I actually like went through all that and here I am doing these things. But it wasn't till I think it was like just at the beginning of the lockdown where I was like, screw all of this. Like I was an immigrant. I was a refugee. Like I was wearing gas masks in Israel. Like I was born in the Ukraine. Like this stuff is not like, I can't stuff it any more further down. And it's not serving me or others in any way, shape, or form to land on my Instagram and see me on like private jets and doing all these big things and thinking that like this white woman here is just living it up. Like there is a story behind that. And there was a lot of work and self-development and ambition and perseverance and strength and all of this stuff that I had to do to get there. But the key is that I've realized that if somebody like myself, who literally had no money for food, for school lunches, to not even having a bedroom, to like having to learn English as a third language, to coming not into money and coming into, you know, immigrating to Canada, starting in like an apartment building that was like for individuals that like were subsidized, to now being a top 100 most powerful women in Canada, to being featured in Forbes, to being like, to growing this incredibly successful brand. If I can do that, other women can do that. And I don't ever want to take away from the fact that that story is important to other women. And so to answer your question, I have seen countless of women, and I've experienced and talked to countless of women who have told me like, thank you for not only sharing your story, but for like being raw and honest about it and not being embarrassed about it and things like that. But in particular for just like the total mom pitch, now feeling like I've stepped into my power and feeling like I'm an empowered woman, I get to speak to other women who are just not in that empowered state yet, that I know can literally get into an empowered state, that don't have that someone in their corner. For me, if I did not have that one teacher in high school or that one, you know, like I actually went through the foster care system, and like I've never even talked about that. And that one social worker or whatever, like all of those women that strategically were placed in my life to help me overcome all of that trauma and all of that stuff. If I didn't have those people, I don't know where I would be. And so it's not only a responsibility for me to share my story, but it is like a purpose. It's like it's like a whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
It
Oh, I
it
love
means
it.
it means a lot to me, because the thing is there's so many women from different cultures and backgrounds and diversities that are like, just they're not allowed to be empowered, or they feel that they were not allowed to. And we all have a different upbringing, and we all have a different experience of life and trauma and struggles. But what we do all have is the capability of turning all of those struggles and turning those into a mindset of like, I'm going to use that shit as fire, as fuel, as a learning experience. And the thing is like, I studied psychology for many, many years at Laurentian and Georgian College. And the one thing that I always remembered learning through psychology was that perception is everything. And I think that like, if anyone asked me like, what is all your success from, I would say my perception and my mindset of the reality of the life that I am just deciding that it is. If I go out there and I decide that I'm a top 100 most powerful women, then I am. And I walk into a room and that's how I act, and that's how I am, and that's how I feel, and that's how people are treating me. If I wake up and I feel like crap and I'm like, oh, like everyone's judging me, nobody likes me, then that's how it will be. It's energy, it's vibration, it's the perception and power that as soon as our mind starts thinking like, I am not worthy, then it's going to show us how unworthy we are. It's
Mm-hmm.
big. That's the biggest frigging lesson I've ever learned in my life, is that your life is what you say it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can find someone in a village in the middle of nowhere that only has a basketball and a tent and nothing else, and they could tell you they're the most happiest person in the world. Why? Because their perception and their mindset is, I have everything I need. I have joy, I have play, I have a village, I have some people in my community, I get to eat, the sun is shining on me. It's about how you see your life. And it's about what you tell yourself about that life. That narrative is so important. And in a world where technology and internet and content is so heavy and like coming at us everywhere, it's our job to filter what's coming in and be really mindful and cognizant of like our unconscious mind and our conscious mind and how those two are playing that narrative in our life.
I love it. It's so powerful. And it's just like my head is going to the places of like, it takes so much courage to be vulnerable and authentic. And what are we afraid of? We're afraid of rejection and judgment. But then how powerful when we step into our powerful and we're like, fuck it. I don't care. I don't care what anybody's going to say, or like, how do you get there how do you make the big leap? Or how do you coach anybody else into it?
It's trial and error. You've gotta have uncomfortable moments to keep having more uncomfortable moments until the point of like, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to be uncomfortable. Like there were so many times in my life that people judged me and I took it so personally. Like it bothered me so much. Why are they judging me? Why don't they want me happy? Like, don't they just take me for who I am? And like, I really stopped giving an SHIT about that because I then gained my power back. The thing is like when you do personal development and you start learning about power, and power was also something we did a lot of work in psychology with, and power is something that can be given and taken. But the cool thing about power is that you always have the choice of like either having a power struggle with someone or just literally being like, no. So for example, as I started sharing things about myself and I started dealing with people that maybe were just not in alignment and there was just like this like friction or resistance with people, I just kind of went, whatever, that's just like the vibe is not happening. And so the more you start like being yourself and actually like accepting that life is so much more beautiful and awesome when you just choose to be you and you don't give a crap about what other people think. Everybody that doesn't resonate with that or doesn't vibe with that, they're just not meant to be in that existence, and that's okay. And I don't mean like, don't take this information and go, oh, well, like if I'm having an uncomfortable conflict with someone, like I'm just gonna toxically being like, well, they're not in my vibe, bad vibes. Like, I'm not saying don't deal with your SHIT and like grow, like you're gonna have to grow, but that part of that growth is really just determining, am I like, what is uncomfortable right now? Like, why am I resisting this? Like, what's the issue? Like, am I being authentic? Am I giving this too much power? Am I giving away my power? Are they taking power over me? For an example, like if somebody is like trying to kind of be like condescending or narcissistic to you, you can make it mean nothing, or you can make it mean everything and be upset and your whole day's ruined. And so we have that choice. And with everything going on all the time, all day, we're doing this, and this. It's hard to practice mindfulness, and it's hard to stop the world and be like, oh, let me examine this. Like that's not the reality, but as doing it as much as you can certainly increases like happiness and overall like just a good life.
I love getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I really, really love that. And then I really love the conversation around giving your power away and taking your power back. Nobody's taking your power. You're giving your power away. And sometimes we're doing out of, we think we're being polite. We think we're being respectful.
Oh my God, all those lies. We're being polite. No way. Those are lies. You are not being polite. You're just giving yourself an excuse to like not have boundaries. Boundaries are so important. Like when you set a boundary, it doesn't matter how that person reacts to it. You've set that boundary, and that safety and that value and mission of like what you stand for and what you don't stand for, that's real. And that's all that matters. Like, it's like, you can just say, no, thank you. No, thank you. And then it end there. And it doesn't matter. Like the thing is even with, oh my gosh, like arguments and things, like the more you feed in and explain yourself and like set like these explanations and excuses, the more that feeds this other person to essentially like keep attacking you. And it's like, to stop attacks and just like negative people in general, one of the things that I do is I just set a strict boundary, and it really doesn't matter what they say after that. It's just, you know, that you're being a person of your word and you're setting a boundary. And you'll see, like, as you start setting more boundaries, like people will treat you as to what you ask them to treat you. So like, we can't walk around pretending like, oh, we're just being nice, we're letting people treat us like shit. Just tell them no.
Yeah, I love it.
That's, you know, that's your opinion, and like,
Yes.
doesn't work
But I
for
think
me
it's so
or
important
whatever.
because as people start to embark on this journey of the, embracing the power of their story and telling their stories, they are going to get the haters. They're going to get the
Of course,
comments, and how do you
of
manage
course.
all of that?
Guess who the number one hater in the world is?
I don't know.
Guess. People who are not self-expressed, individuals
Mm.
who are not able to tell their story, or they don't feel that they've yet been able to express themselves, hate people who are expressing themselves, because they're mere reflection of like, I wish I was doing that. I wish I could see myself in like saying that or whatever. It's it's a really huge thing. Like, it's like a blocked throat chakra thing. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, individuals that can't speak up for themselves or share their story do not like other people who are just down to earth, sharing their story, being wearing their heart on their sleeve. And that's because they're still very uncomfortable with it, and they're resenting the fact that they haven't got there yet. And so one of the things that I would recommend is, if you're coming across individuals like that, is give them more love, like help open up the opportunity for them to share their story. You know what I mean? Like, because when we're all getting to live in a world where we're all feeling self-expressed and seen and heard, like, we're just all going to get along better. We're all going to do more for each other. We're all going to be in a better place. Being in a place where you feel lack of, where you're not feeling seen and heard, can be the most alienating, dark place ever. And that's why I recommend that any entrepreneur share their story, because nobody is going to see where you came from and what you've done, and, you know, acknowledge you or even just stand for you if they don't know the substance behind like what's happening there. It's not just like an overnight success story. You have to share it. You have to share like what you went through.
Love it. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, there's so much. You've covered so much.
No, dig into, like, honestly, I feel like I talk a lot.
No, I love it.
There's just so much, you know, there's
I
so
mean,
much that we could talk about.
yeah, I mean, I feel like you've given so much great advice. And I keep saying this, I'm like, I get to rewatch this and take notes next time. I can't do that when I'm doing the interview, but so I still want to ask you this question. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs listening about what it takes to thrive and be heard in the marketplace today?
Video content. It takes media. If you want to get your message out to millions, you need to get your story straight, and you need to make videos. Something that I don't get to do as much as I want to, but I have done, and I always see the best results, is really just showing up in a video and sharing what it is. People will kind of like copy and emails and newsletters, like they can only go so much. I mean, our brains are like so used to seeing like fake stories and like perfectly meticulously written copy, like, oh, I sympathize with you, blah, blah. Like, humans, like, we could see through the bullshit, right? Yeah. So if you really want to get your message to millions, make videos and be raw and real, and like share that. Maybe write a short book, tell your story, get out there and try to do podcasts, try to speak at things, even if it's not big conferences, like speak at anything, start your own podcast. I think at the end of the day, to get your voice heard, There are many outlets that you could do it, but video are the most powerful because you hear the person's voice, you see their face. It's that human connection, and it feels like you're right there with the person. And
Mm.
when you're speaking about things, don't speak like the one thing I always see, like people who are trying to become an influencer or whatever is like, hey guys, and like da 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 da. And like you're kind of speaking in this like person where you're like speaking to like groupies or fans, but really what it should be is a one-on-one conversation to the camera. So it's not like, hey guys, it's I'm really like stressed right now and like it's going, you want to be like on a telephone call with your girlfriend. So do
Mm.
that in your videos, do that in your scripts, do that in your writing, do that in your podcasts. Just speak to the one person that is all the people, if that makes sense. I don't think a
Love
lot of people
it.
talk or share about that at all. And that's a huge factor because people can pick up on that. Like, would you
Yeah.
genuinely feel like if I went on a video, you were watching one of my videos, it was like, hey guys, da 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 da, da. Or would you connect more if I was like, so this is like what's going on, because you feel like you're speaking to me or you're listening to me or like we're in the same room, as
Mhm.
opposed to like an impersonal loud acknowledgement to a bunch of randoms, you know?
Yeah, I love it. That's
Cool tip.
great advice.
Yeah, it's a
That's
really
awesome.
different tip. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that right now.
Yeah, I love it. That's brilliant. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give you the floor. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience today?
I don't know. I mean, like, I think there's definitely realities around building a life you love. I think we all need to kind of write that down. Like everybody thinks they want something until they realize what it takes. One thing that I've really realized is the more success that you want, the more work it's going to be, and really what's driving that success. Like, is that, do you want to be successful because you need to get your message out to millions of people? Do you want to be successful because you just need worthiness and accolades? Do you want to be successful because you're changing your life? Like, what does that mean to you, and what work are you willing to put in there? As a
Mm.
reminder, I think it entrepreneurship is not for like the weak hearted. Like, it's not like an overnight success. I'm not gonna lie, any brand that I've taken to a successful point of what I think was like, wow, I made it in this thing, takes an average of 4 to 5 years. And so I've been on these
Wow.
cycles of like, this one took 4 to 5 years. Now this one just took 4 to 5 years. I'm excited to see what my next 4 to 5 years is and what that will be. And I have
I'm
ideas, you
excited
know,
for your next 4 to 5 years.
so am I. And I'm taking so many people with me. Like this time around, it's like, it's less about me and more about community and people.
Yeah.
And it's growing and it's growing. But I will tell you right now, like 4 to 5 years is where how long it on average takes to get
Mm.
to a place. So don't expect to grow your channel or make millions of dollars or whatever without years and years in the making, because you're going to be perfecting it, you're going to be polishing it. You don't know everything. You want to constantly learn, but then there's all these little lessons that entrepreneurs learn, like whether it's don't do it yourself, get people who know how to, or how to even have a proper team and keep them inspired and empowered so that turnover isn't like flopping
Mhm.
around all the time. Or maybe it's like just understanding that like you need to change your business model. And so people hold on to the suitcase of like, well, I invented that and I started that and it's got to work one day. You have to be agile and you have to be ready, like switch everything. Like my company started out as an events company, Canada's first and largest holistic festival for moms. Today, we're an online education platform, media brand, and social enterprise. Those are two hugely different things. And what we're doing now, we were never doing then. And that was because the industry was changing, the economic situations were changing, and I had to at some point be like, I'm committed, but I'm not attached. And a lot of entrepreneurs are attached. And if you can be not attached and like take people's advice and be coachable and have mentors and be a part of accelerators and women-led incubators and things, and just ask senior people, like, what do you think about this? Like, don't think you're just like, you know what you're doing. Don't be that. asshole that thinks they know everything. Like, constantly evolve and take your time with it. You don't need to be a success story overnight, and that really doesn't ever happen. I mean, it just never happens like that. Even people who think, those people like, oh, they came up with a tech company and then they went public and that happened in like 2 years or whatever. You don't know what those people were doing and how many relationships and connections and networking and like pitching and all, like it's all behind the curtain. There's a lot of work to do. Mhm.
I love it. Thank you for your honesty about that. And thank you for everything today. This has been like really, really inspiring, really educational. I learned a lot. So thank you for
Yeah, thanks
sharing
for
everything.
listening. Talk my first coffee of the day, and I'm like,
I love it, Anna. Thank you so much for being part of the Power Story and bring your own flavor to it. I love it.
is it
Thank you.
spicy?
Yes, yes. I love it. Very bold, passionate, and out of the box.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching. There's going to be a Power Story workshop. There we go. There's my timer on October 24th. So keep an eye out for emails on that. And we've got more.
Oh yeah.
YouTube
One
videos
more
coming
thing.
up.
Sorry.
Yes.
One more thing. Oh my gosh. I almost forgot about this. So if you're a woman and a mom entrepreneur and you own your own business, make sure you apply for Canada's Total Mom Pitch if you're here in Canada, because we are doing a $30,000 grand prize grant. We have recognition awards, and this year is our 5th year anniversary and awards gala happening live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which means like you will literally get to buy a ticket and be in a room with all of the sponsors and executive women from major brands and corporations. You'll get to be around all of the women that decide the funding, the grants, the funding ecosystem. You'll get to meet other entrepreneurs and people who can like fill in the cracks of your business and things like that. You could be recognized on stage for an award, or you could be our top 100 semifinalists and get national coverage and news support and all of that fun stuff. So check out totalmom.ca. And yeah, I'm excited for you guys to get that support. And yeah, especially if you know a mom, let her know about us.
My entrepreneur brain is going, what can we come up with? So we can go. When does it start, Anna?
So applications open in January. So if you go to totalmompitch.ca, you can see all the action from last year. And totalmom.ca is our main website. If you go to the media room, you can look at the case study, and that shows you like everything we pulled off and all the amazing stuff that's happened. But if you're looking to apply, set your calendars, January.
Yeah, this is perfect timing so they can get their pitch together. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah. And if you make top 5 or even top 100, we have professional pitch coaches that walk you through on how to pitch your company and your brand and everything like that. And every single year we get people on Forbes, on Global TV, CTV, like we had our semifinalists be poached for Dragon's Den. I mean, we've had people grow and scale their teams. Our very first one, oh my God, like our very first one we did was live, and that was in 2019. We planned it in 2018. And this year will be our first in-person since then. So this is going to be like the big anniversary, the big year, and it's going to be incredible networking opportunity, but also an opportunity for you to like get into the Canadian business ecosystem, because the program is national. So there's just going to be a lot of people, and we're going to be working with the BDC to offer $100,000 loans to small businesses online within like 10-15 minutes. So if you need funding for your business and you're here in Canada, we could certainly help you with that. We have all the relationships with all the banks, the women-led organizations, the lenders. There's always like non-dilutive funding and all that stuff. I highly recommend, if you're trying to get money, do not give up your equity. Just wait, hold it down.
I love it. Definitely check it out. It's going to be in my show notes. It's going to be in the email also. I'll make sure I get the link for that. And yeah, thank you so much. It's been a total blast.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.